Hello and welcome to Spirit Forest. I am very excited to show you my progress on my campsites at my land for my backpacking and kids classes for wilderness training. So excited. It actually looks a mess right now, but to me there has been a lot done. So I want to be able to show that to you. Giving you a little update of what I want to do here. This is going to be for the summer of 2023. I would like to teach wilderness skills to kids. I think that kids have been lacking a lot in some wilderness skills, and I think I want to give the opportunity. Now it is going to be both boys and girls on this class. A lot of times I gear a little bit more towards the women and the girls just because there's not a lot of opportunity out there, I feel, to learn a lot of these skills. But for the kids class, it's going to be a co-ed type class, and we're going to teach them how to build a quick shelter. We're going to teach them how to read a map, read a compass, when they call search and rescue, how search and rescue can find them. These are all going to be valuable skills, and I'm going to try to do it in the most fun way possible that I could do it, so the kids are entertained and happy and they're having a really good time. Not only am I going to do classes for children, I am also going to do classes for women as well. And this is women that have never been in the backcountry before. Maybe you've hiked a few times and stuff, but you've never been in the backcountry. You've always been really curious about backpacking, and you just want to learn the skills for it. So what I'm going to teach in that class is I'm going to teach how to build a quick shelter. I'm going to teach how to navigate. We're going to go backpacking about 3 or 4 miles in, and we're going to pitch our tents up, and we're going to filter water together, and we're going to work on knife safety, and we're going to work on all of these skills that you need to know to be able to be in the backcountry and feel confident about it. And that's what I really want for this. Now, this again is for women that are brand new to the wilderness, and I'm only going to do about four women to come on the class. I feel like 4 is probably a good size, because then we can all kind of get to know each other. We can have a little bit more one-on-one as well. It's like starts on a Friday and ends on a Sunday. And I will post more about it in the future. Probably the end of 2022 I'll be posting about it, and the beginning of 2023 might be like dates and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. But what I want to show you, because I'm getting my land ready for people to camp here. Whether it be we just pitch up a tent and then we go off somewhere else, or I'm teaching how to build a quick shelter. I want to make sure that my land is clear enough. So if you've seen my other video, I'm trying to think like where to show you. Oh goodness. I have a lot of wood here, you guys, and it's just a mess. But there's been a lot of progress been made, and well, I think the best thing is just to walk around and show you. Okay, this gives you a pretty good understanding of what my land looks like. Now, do you guys remember I hired this tree guy to come out here and help me work on my land? Well, he has done an awesome job. So he's taken down a lot of these trees. So now I need to get my chainsaw out and I can cut them. Yeah, it's everywhere. So you'll see that I'm starting to collect some stacks of wood over here. And down here is going to be my campsites. So you see kind of at the beginning of the video, I was kind of getting ready to stack stuff. What I do is I take these and I put them in a bunch of stacks. You probably have seen it in previous videos, but all I do is stack wood. But here was a really big dead tree that fell. That, I mean, you can see how much wood is in there. Isn't that crazy? So there's a campsite in there, probably about right there. That's campsite, let's say 1, and then back there is campsite 2, and then we're going to come over here to campsite 3 will be right here, and then I think I can squeeze. I might need to take down another tree, but I think I can squeeze another campsite in here somewhere. There could be a possibility where I can kind of put in another campsite in here. Now what I really want is I just want to make sure no trees are going to fall on anybody as they're in their tent, you know, obviously. But anytime you camp by any tree, there is a risk involved in that. These are pretty, they look pretty tall on my camera, but they're not as tall as some of the other trees, like those guys right over there. So I have the majority of the dead trees down already, and they're all cut up. So I think it would take about 3 weekends or so to stack, and maybe I can get my girls out here to help me out too. But we can stack them all. I also have some volunteers, some subscribers of mine that have volunteered, and thank you. I'll be calling you soon. So yeah, I think once we get all this wood stacked, I think we're going to be in a good spot for training. Now what I'm looking at too is I'm looking at trees, like a trees right here and this other tree right here, a place where I can teach how to build a quick shelter if you need to in a storm. I need a place for navigation too. Now most of the time when I'm teaching navigation, I'm actually not on my property. I'm out and about, and we're using a like a topo map. I also need to have a fire pit here too, because I want to do some fire. Hopefully we're not in a fire ban this year, but I don't have a permit this year. So next year I'm going to get a permit, but I'm also going to get a really good fire pit so that the ladies can use that. I am going to have the fire department come out here too, and I'm hoping I'll be able to film them. I'm going to have them come out here and talk a little bit about safety with a fire pit as well, and creating fires. I think that would be wonderful if I can get them on video. Sometimes with the fire, I will do like fire challenges. That is so fun, especially for adults. It's really fun. For kids, you know, you got to be really careful. They become pyros really fast, so you got to be really careful with the kids, you know. But I'm going to have all this. I'm going to have fire extinguishers nearby. I'm going to have these big jugs of water that, you know, you can pump and it sprays all over. So I'm going to teach everybody fire safety. Now, when I end up going into the backcountry and I go backpacking, I don't actually have a fire. Like, we will not have a fire. I only build a fire in case of emergency. I've never built a fire just for fun, you know, out there. This is Colorado. It's extremely dry conditions here. It is not safe to build a fire here, so very rarely would I have a fire. I think out of all the years of backpacking, I think I've had a fire 4 or 5 times. But I have learned to be able to stay warm without a fire. And you can watch some of my winter camping videos for that as well. But not the ones in the tent, because that one I had a fire in the tent. That was cheating a little bit, yeah. So I thought this was the perfect video to do a little tutorial on some knife safety stuff. This is stuff that I also teach in my classes as well. Now, depending on the ages of the kids, I usually would wait until they're at least 13 years old before I hand a knife to them. And then usually I have the adult right next to them, because you can get really injured using a knife, and I want to make sure that everybody is safe. The first thing is what kind of knife to buy, especially if you're in the backcountry and stuff. Now I have, if you've seen all my knives, oh my gosh, well, you can look through my videos. I have a knife video just going over all my knives. I get 60 some knives to show off, but I do have one that I use that is my go-to. That is not my custom one, because I do like that one too. I do have one that I use and I recommend for people to purchase or to borrow from me for my backpacking class, and that is a Mora knife. I prefer the Mora Black to be the knife of choice. Now I think those range about $60 to $80, somewhere around there, depending on what kind of components that you have with it. But you can get other knives from Mora that is a little bit cheaper. But I would say before you go and buy one for my class, just make sure you contact me, because some of them don't have all the features. The $9 ones is not the knife that you're looking for. Just telling you that right now. Okay, so I was thinking, again, we will kind of go over the knife as well. So you want to make sure that your knife has a sleeve on it. So you'll see here, I have a sleeve. I also have it so it's secure to my belt as well. I like the ones that, this one you'll see it kind of opens up here. Let me see if I can open it up here. And you can take it off your hip. I like the ones that where you actually have to feed it through. I think those are a little bit better. With the Mora knives, I know it comes with this sleeve, but it does fall off. So just warning you ahead of time, it does fall off. You can get some custom sleeves done as well, but this is the standard one it comes with. So you might be asking me, you know, why do I even need a knife in the backcountry? I actually get really surprised when people don't bring a knife. A knife to me is one of my top 5 necessities in the backcountry, and that is because I know what it can do and how to use it. A knife can assist in building a shelter and quickly, I would think too. But I also say in my classes, only use your knife if you absolutely need to use it. And this to me is a survival tool. This is not something that I use daily when I'm in the backcountry. Again, I only pull it out when I need it. The last time I used a knife, I was cutting paracord so that way I can hang my bear bag because I needed to have multiple strings on it. Long story, but you'll probably see it in a future video here. One of the reasons why I like it is that it is really light. So for those of you that are looking for backpacking, you're always looking at weight on things, and the Mora is really light. Now I've had many other knives, and I've even had little folding knives and all that kind of stuff too that I've taken backpacking. But the Mora to me in a survival situation, if you truly get in one, that's the knife you want. You do not want one of those folding knives. You want to be able to baton the knife. You want to be able to create a quick fire if you needed to. And I have a harder time doing that with one of those folding knives because they're just not, they don't have a full tang to it as well. And it's just not the kind of knife that I feel is useful in the backcountry in regards to survival. Okay, taking the knife out of the sleeve, you can kind of see it. Now again, I recommend more of the Mora Black. This is not the Mora Black, but it's like a kind of a copy of it. It's not a full tang. I think that's the only thing that I would say is probably not good with it. It only goes about right here, but it does have this nice kind of rubber around it. And it's really easy to grip on. So, and for a woman having smaller hands, I feel that this knife is really good. It also has the finger protection as well, so that way your fingers will not slip on the knife. When you're holding a knife, I'd recommend for you to hold it like this, like you're punching somebody, you know. That's how I recommend for you to hold it as well. You also want to make sure that it has this 90-degree angle as well, so you can take, you can use your fire rod with that. You can make a fire with it. You can try to do like a flint and steel type arrangement there with that. It is a Scandi grind as well. Knife too. Most of the knife is being used about right here, so that's the majority of it. It's about a 5-inch blade as well. I'm trying to make sure it stays in focus here. I really like this knife. Again, I recommend the Mora Black is the one that I recommend the most, but it depends on how much money you want to spend on a knife. My Mora Black right now is actually in my backpack, which is not with me right now, because I did just reuse it on the trail. Before I get into a little bit more of the safety of the knife, I do want to point out that these nice pants were provided for me. If you're looking for something like bushcraft type pants for women, I do recommend this brand. I will put a link in the description below, and I'm also going to show you something kind of quick and simple when I went hiking this summer, and I was using these pants to give you kind of a close-up of the pants. I have been looking for a belt to wear when I have a backpack on. The leather ones are too rough, and sometimes they kind of hurt and they kind of pinch me. So this fabric embossed belt was perfect for backpacking. I'm happy that I have it. I think these pants are best for a bushcraft type activity where you're on the ground in the dirt, and that way when you stand up you could just literally brush it off. They're a bit thick for like summer hiking,
So I think early spring, late fall hiking, these pants are perfect. You can unzip them and when you're hiking, and then when you stop for a break and it starts getting cold, then you can put the pants back on. Or for me, in my case, I'm hiking up to some peaks, and when you first start off, it's usually pretty warm, and then once you get to the top of the mountain, it gets pretty chilly that you're probably going to want to end up wearing pants at that point. I have many clothes from this company, and I absolutely love the quality of these clothes. These pants are going to last. If you are interested in purchasing some of these kind of pants, or maybe some other clothes that I've shown, I do have a discount code of Spirit Forest 15. I think that's in all caps, and you can get 15% off. So enjoy.
Okay, yeah, these pants rule. If you don't know, I have done a lot of videos with this company on their clothing. I'm waiting for a full clothing line of their stuff. Absolutely love it. I can be in the dirt and mud and everything, and I can just brush it off. And it also, when it's raining and stuff, it's really nice. And these are nice because they zip off into shorts, which is really good for Colorado, because 1 minute it's cold and the next minute it's burning hot, so that's really nice. Okay, let's get back into some knife safety type stuff. When I have my classes, you're looking at about 5 to 6 people or so that are in the class, and sometimes we're kind of in a close quarters, or we're sitting in my tent, and I want to make sure that nobody's in each other's, it's called a blood circle. That's everything that kind of, if I can touch you with a knife, you're in that circle. So you have to make sure that everyone is away from you. The reason why I'm like over safety stuff when it comes to a knife is that we're in the middle of nowhere when we're in the wilderness. If you have a little bit of an accident, it could be life or death. If you're in the city and you're using a knife and you cut yourself, you can get to the hospital. When you're in the wilderness, you cannot. So you really want to make sure that you're nice and safe. So I go overboard on safety, and I think that's a really good thing. So in case some of you comment on that, I teach overboard of safety. Okay, so we got the blood circle. So no one's around your blood circle. And then also we have what is called the triangle of death, which is basically kind of your crotch area right here. This little triangle that you can see right there, that is the triangle of death. If you make a cut right here, yeah, you're done. So you want to make sure that the knife doesn't get anywhere within your triangle of death. So anytime you're working with a knife, you want to make sure you're outside your triangle. You're not working with something. Let's say I want to work on a stick. I'm not working on it like this, right into my leg. I teach it so that you're over here. I back up a little bit. You're over here and you're working on it as well. Or you're on this side and you're working on it. Or you're in the front of you and you're working on it. You're never over here working on it with your leg. That is actually really hard to train yourself to do that. It takes some practice. Now, a lot of times in my class, I am constantly paying attention. It's one of the reasons why I want my class to be small, because I'm constantly paying attention where everyone's blade is at, because you will eventually come in here and you're working on something and you're going to end up doing that and you're not even thinking about it. So you have to have that become a habit of not working on that triangle of death. Again, when you're working on your knife, I'm going to take my knife out of my sleeve. You're holding it like a fist, again, like you're going to punch somebody, That's how I want you to hold the knife at all times. There are times actually, there are times where you're going to want to put some little pressure. You might want to do some little cuts, or you need to just make a notch, and you can do that. Again, you're always cutting away from yourselves when you're making cuts. There are other times where you're going to point the blade at you. I know that seems really odd to do it that way, but this way you put your knife here, and then you can move like a lot of product off the blade, or off the stick if you needed to. And then you can also turn it upside down, and again, I'm kind of showing you on the camera, but you're gonna kind of do this so that way you can get some nice little, this is a really wet stick. It rained on last night, but you can get some nice little fine I don't know if you can see it or not. You probably can't. But you can get some really nice fine stuff to be able to ignite a spark. The knife, what I use it for, oh, mosquito. What I use the knife for is to make a fire. I also use it to cut paracord. I can use it to cut limbs off trees if I need to. I mean, there's so many purposes for a knife to use. You can use it for protection. When I was in Wyoming, which you will see those videos here soon, I had the knife on my side at all times. I also had bear spray on my side too, but I got a feeling that, you know, the bear spray's not working. Hopefully the knife will, because my fingernails are not that sharp. I like having a knife around. I don't like having mosquitoes around. Don't like that part. It found me. Okay, so I know that I'm going to make it kind of short. I just kind of wanted to show you some of the stuff that I teach in my classes, and so I chose to teach you a little bit of knife safety. So if you are interested in one of my classes, feel free to email me. My email is in the description below, and I'll add you to a list of the emails that come out. I will have requirements, some fitness requirements to take my class. This will be the first time I'm requiring a fitness requirement, but I will have that for safety purposes for everybody in the team that goes out into the backcountry. So if it is something that you're interested in, I think it is a blast. You're going to learn a ton, and you'll be a lot more confident in the outdoors. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in Wyoming, which will be my next video. Bye-bye. Guys, an update of how I'm doing for my wilderness classes, my women's. No. What's crawling on my back? There's a bug crawling on my back. Yep. It's all good. All good. Love nature.